I'd like to be able to start off with this one piece titled Nightmare of My People. When I was young, I did not notice Canada's plains, the Mississippi River, the volcanoes of Mexico and Central America, that they were covered in blood, the blood of my people, at the hands of Europeans. And at Cajamarca, in Peru, on the Argentine plains, the Caribbean, along the Amazon, in the mountains, the valleys, the blood of my people, in a Holocaust, in a savage genocide at the hands of Europeans. I did not notice the silence and slavery of my people. I was silent. I was a slave. I was ignorant. No one was there to tell me of the massacres, the smallpox Holocaust, the one that killed 95% of our population at the hands of Europeans. I did not know that our poverty was a direct result of being robbed of the vast mineral and land wealth, forests, farmland, gold, iron ore, the wealth of this our continent, centuries ago, by the thieving and killing hands of Europeans. I did not notice, I did not know, I should have known, but how could I have known, since this was kept from me? This was kept from my people. When I was young, my identity lay in shame, in poverty, in hopelessness, in ignorance. My shame in not being white. My poverty in not being white. My hopelessness in not being white. My ignorance told me I needed to be white. No other option was presented to me or made known to me or even wanted. I was a child of ignorance. I was a child of slavery. Slavery to the needs and wants of Europeans. The Europeans in Canada, those in the United States, the Europeans who control in Mexico and in Central America and in South America. I was a slave of ignorance, born not knowing of the monstrous European crimes. I did not notice, I did not know that I and those who are my people, the so-called Indians, that we were, that we are, the less than 5% who survived. We survived the massive killings, massacres, savage attacks by Europeans, the biggest Holocaust in the history of humanity. I did not know. I never saw the movie that told of this. The school books never mentioned this. My family, my friends, my people never spoke of this. The world did not speak to me of this. Of all of this, I was ignorant. There was no guidance for me from our leaders. We had no leaders, no venerables or warriors to give me or my people dignity, to teach us honor. There was no knowledge of our heroes and our accomplishments that could have been told to us by teaching us our Nicantlaca history, the history of our people as indigenous people. There was only racism since I was a child. Racism on all our continent, Canada to Central America and down to South America. The racism is everywhere, like a curse on our people. The colonial nations forced upon our continent keep us divided by their borders on our continent, their languages, their religion, and their need to keep us ignorant of our collective ownership of this whole Western Hemisphere. We are not free anywhere on our continent from the control of Europeans. They tell us where we can go, where we cannot go. They tell us all the wealth of our continent now belongs to them. Nothing now belongs to us. And we say nothing because we mostly know nothing of the truth. Not even the Europeans know the truth of all the crimes that their ancestors have committed on our people and on most of the non-European people of the world. I was ignorant when I was young, and I cried that I was not a European. I cried that I was not in the European pride of Greeks and Romans, in their wealth, in their intelligence, in their ingenuity, in their American work ethic, in their whiteness. I was dark. I was a foreigner on my own land, on my own continent. I was just a child of so-called Indians who behaved as if they were Europeans. I behaved like a false European, knowing all along I was dark, that I was a child of this continent and not of Europe. I was dark from an unknown people. I was dark and in darkness. Darkness was my life of ignorance. Back then, when I was young, escape from reality of all these lies and racism was an absolute necessity to me. Escape was need and want and everything to me. Europe and Europeans were everything. Everything good and beautiful was in them. It was what I was taught. I escaped into their world. My people were not European, not good, not beautiful, not anything. They were irrelevant, or so I had been taught. In my escapes, I embraced my ignorance as if it was knowledge. I embraced the culture of Europeans without question. But then something happened. Knowledge began to bleed into my life. Life began to bleed into my mind. And I began a quest for knowledge. I began to learn the truth, and I no longer questioned the color of my skin, but began to question the wrongs that were done against my people. Up until then, I had not known the truth about my people, of our heritage, of our great civilizations, nor of our accomplishments, nor did I know of the crimes of the Europeans, of their invasions, the rape of our people, the thefts and massacres, the burning of our libraries, destruction of our cities, execution of our leaders, and the using of smallpox as a weapon of mass destruction to kill 95% of our people. 70 to 100 million killed in the Western Hemisphere. All were at the hands of Europeans. So many of my people were killed so that Europeans could have our land, our continent, for free, for nothing, just for some blood. Almost all the blood of my people, almost all the lives of my people. I did not know of this before. I did not know. No one ever told me. But then I began to know.